is your fella, Cursed Curator, with.
The media goblin ain't us. Today we are talking about 1929, the trashiest year.
I
Maybe
think
not for music, just for film, which is the main thing we talk about on this show because it's more interesting. What
also
did you think about 1929? Sorry, go ahead.
I thought it was okay. It wasn't the greatest, but I don't think any particular year is really quote unquote the worst. I mean, yeah, it's kind of mid, but it's part of the time. I won't judge too hard. Um, the other thing that'll be something that's so noteworthy, it's gonna suck because it's always dry until a certain point. Is games.
Yeah, I assume the same year the Depression started wasn't super big in luxury game items.
Yeah, unfortunate. Get good, losers. If you're Great Depression, you just got good.
If only they had that phrase in 1929, we could have all avoided this.
Exactly. See, you get it. So,
So, as usual, let's start with some film.
yep, the first film today is The Ally.
Yes, Alibi. This is a crime film about a guy who's accused of murder but has a very good alibi. What is that alibi, by the way, Scyther?
Hold on, I have notes.
Impenetrable alibi.
I, I have my notes. I have my notes. Hold on, where's my
Oh, did
fucking
you make a
notes?
note of this as well?
Yeah, I had to remember because I'm like because the ally was so fucking stupid. I had to write down all this shit because I'm like it's so like who would fucking fall for this?
Very Hollywood.
um, wasn't it that okay? Now correct me if I'm wrong. Is that he just wasn't there? I could be wrong about that, or that like his shit was like fucking planted or something.
His alibi was that he was at an opera and he had tickets. That was his alibi. That was it. So apparently, to get away with murder in 1929, all you need to say is, "Hey, I bought some tickets."
Hold
For
on.
$6, you could commit a murder.
Sorry, was double checking.
Pause. Yes, we're good. Uh, so yeah, that's the plot of Alibi. If I'm not mistaken, I might be thinking of Underworld, but this film is very anti-cop. A lot of old gangster films are.
Mm,
Cops in
yeah.
a lot of
Oh,
cops in the 1920s were working for the mafia.
yup. The damn good they were such good days.
Yes, blatant corruption.
I
My
mean,
favorite
I
kind.
mean, think about it, Oz. So, would you rather have the organized crime back then? They're like, hey, yeah, they're all corrupt, but the people weren't being killed like that. Or a crime now where you're just hanging out, straight bullet, dead.
Wasn't there like a lot of collateral damage when the mafia had shootouts with each other?
Yeah, but that was a few and far in between. Today, it's constant.
We need to start a political channel where we have the most unhinged, strange political beliefs. Like the mafia needs to be brought back.
We need to bring it back. God, the police need to learn a lesson.
Yes, we need more corruption. Um,
Ugh.
Back to the film. Alibi is a strange film. It tries to be kind of actiony, but they clearly only had like 5 sets, and they keep bouncing between them. I I did not like Alibi. What did you think of it though?
I kind of digged it. So it's one of those few films that. So of course, there's plenty of scenes have alternate scenes. That's just that's today it's like so common. It's like if your film doesn't have it, or you even really a film anymore. But no, those back then didn't really have them like that. But you see, for this film, it's one of those few rare films at the time that released multiple, like 8 or 9 different alternate scenes. It was kind of
Oh,
crazy. Um, so I have, of course, as always, I'm the one who comes prepared for this one. tons of lovely fun facts. This film is dumb because it is dumb. This is what can I say about this film? Is so did you know that William Boyd was actually listed as the lead actor of this film, but he's actually not in it at all?
I'm sorry, what?
Yes, William Boyd was listed in some articles to like back then, not modern day articles, but back then articles to be the lead actor in this film, but he's never in it whatsoever. It's a whole different other person being the lead. It's because they were in negotiations, negotiations with him to get him in. He's like, nah. So you can find it's out there an ultra rent, like it's me not ultra rent, ultra rare print that has William Boyd as the lead. So there's like no like picture of him. It's just his name on it, but it has the other guy being the lead.
Sorry, I just need to check which William Boyd. Nope, not that one.
Hold on.
Nope, not that one. Oh wait, maybe. I think so. We're talking about the guy who's in westerns.
Yes, that William Boyd.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, that would have been terrible. He is not that kind of actor.
Yes, this was way back. He's a guy who we will talk about a bit later. He's kind of important for the westerns, kind of.
I am seeing a lot of westerns in William Boyd's backlog.
Yeah.
Next up, oh yeah, what would you rate the Alibi?
You know, that's because it's for its time. This is a weird thing to say. For its time, it was unique, and I'm viewing this, of course, as now, but also back then. I would be super excited to see this film. I mean, of course, I would be ultimately let down, but it has a unique premise, and that much I can respect. This is the highest I would go. I actually would lower it, actually, 5, but for my modern viewer, 4.
I gave it a 2.
Oh, you slapped the fuck out of it.
Oh, I hated this film. I hated Alibi. But next up, we have a film I didn't hate. I will be right back, though. Technical difficulties. To talk about and describe Applause.
Gotcha. Okay, this is the first time I actually get to do this, guys. This how exciting! A Cursed Curator covering this. So the next film is called Applause. Basically, to give you a rough rundown, of basically like what this film is about. It's a burlesque star that seeks to keep her covenant-raised daughter away from her low-down life, an abusive lover slash stage manager. It was a intriguing film. Now, this is what I'll say immediately: is that it sounds kind of sexist to a point, but it's not. Okay, that's weird to say, but women during this time frame, I don't know why, but a lot of them just sound the same, and it's such a weird thing to say. I know. It's basically to describe more of a storyline here. How else would I describe this? Because like it's pretty straightforward. What I'll say is basically my opinion on the stage props and the background. I thought it was all really good for its time. Although thinking on it more, it's like compared to other stuff, it wasn't the greatest, but it was good for its time. But more on the actual plot, we do see Kitty, who is, I believe, the actual mother. I'll double check that. I mean, it's just me and you guys here. Oh, welcome back.
Apologies.
So,
Yes.
the leading woman is named Kitty, basically, and she is the mother of, I believe, April, or rather, in this case, yeah, it's April Darling. And that's her whole goal is basically to keep her daughter with from her low down life and her I believe lover as well.
Yes, it is a really weird film conceptually. Also
Yep.
started the weird trend in Hollywood of films about burlesque dancers, which is a whole genre or subgenre.
Yeah.
Uh, it is a strange film, and it is an early sound film. We've mentioned it a little bit in 1928, but yes, to confirm, sound films are still incredibly rough and will continue to be incredibly rough until like 1933.
Yeah. This is a film where I will say it is quite emotional. Um,
Yes, a
it,
tearjerker, one might say.
yes, it is very sad how it ends, but this is where I will say it's kind of weird thinking on people that actually made alternate endings. So yes, people have made fanfics on this film. They gave it alternate endings.
Because they didn't like how sad the ending was?
Yes, it was very sad, and people, of course, they don't want a sad. Well, of course, they want a sad story, so we make more stories based on that story. But they just didn't want to see it end like that, and they made their own ending, which I applaud.
Strange, pop off. I quite liked Applause. I thought it was quite competently put together.
Yeah. Ooh.
What would you rate Applause?
Honestly. Mm. Mm. 8. But I do have some fun facts for this film.
Oh boy, give me the facts.
The film is one of the it's an early period of sound and all that still kind of
These transitional sound period,
yes.
1927 to 1933 ish.
So it is the quote unquote first all talking movie. It came out shortly before this. So technically, a lot of directors were concerned simply with providing auto dialogue and little else. This film really wanted to, you know, not focus on just that. They wanted to, have the sound be with the story. I think it was kind of cool.
Oh, something wrong with my microphone?
You okay?
Yeah, I just got a comment that something's wrong with my microphone. One moment. Let me.
Oh, hold on. That is so it's not Oz's fault. It is actually my fault. I lowered you in Discord. Now speak.
Ah, let me.
I might lower you just a little
Okay, let me see. Delays, they're a
bit.
Okay, sound better.
Lovely. Yeah. So I usually always have you at 100%, but I actually lowered you like a few days ago when we were calling my you're kind of loud on my headset. Lowered down to 80.
Ah, I see. Fair enough.
So I do have some other fun. I do have another fun fact. Where I put you. Um. So this is actually something super duper cool. Is the director here made his staff move a large box in which the cameraman was enclosed during the shots to provide tracking with like syncing sound, which was unheard of at the time.
That is an interesting thing. During my research, this was one of the weirder things I found out. So, for early sound films, it's important to remember that cameras were incredibly loud. But for a silent film, obviously, silent doesn't really matter how loud the camera is; you can't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get to sound films, that is important because the louder the camera, you gotta muffle it.
Yeah.
So what they would do is they'd put it in this giant like tarp box thing to contain the noise. You can still sometimes hear the camera whirring, and it is not fun.
So I do have another interesting note about Kitty's actor. So prior to her being selected, another well-known actress of the time, Mae West, was also considered.
Oh God, Mae West.
Yes.
Mae West is a huge actress, and we'll be seeing a lot more of her. And yes, I mean that in both ways in the next coming years.
It's kind of a topic we won't. Well, we have to talk about a lot later. But this is one of the first few movies we'll see a character die from a drug overdose.
Yeah, and that is a sad reality of Hollywood. That is
Yes.
quite common.
Yeah. Behind the scenes, actual actors do pass away a lot from this. Also, being a topic I mentioned a few times already, suicide. Of course, I will put the hotline number in there in case you guys need it.
Oh, yep. Hotline mentioned.
We had to get a whole thing for that, like a counter. I'll make one day. Um,
Yeah, but yeah. Back to the film. What would you give applause? What did you think of it?
so I believe a 8 rating is perfect for this film.
I also gave it an eight. That's wild. Yeah, it's a great film. It is probably one of the better films from this year, which is sad to say.
Honestly, this is so besides Pandora's Box, which we'll get to soon enough, and Man in the Movie Camera, I believe this is one of the greatest. This is an odd take. This is one of the greatest films ever be made this decade. I stand on business with that.
Among your list, yeah, I'll say that. I think the plot was it was definitely much darker than pretty much any film we've seen from the 20s.
Yes, and I love dark things, so it really hit. But how could I not include this? The Goonometer.
Oh no.
How
We're bringing it
goon,
back.
how goon worthy are the ladies in this film? Well, of course, we have Joan Pears, who plays the daughter, and Helen Morgan, who plays the mother. Um, mm, 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 mm. They're like, they're both pretty equal here. They're both solid fives on the Goonometer. We can move on now.
Fair enough.
Also, this is
It's gonna be one of those things. If this channel ever took off, that's the first thing that's got to go. They're gonna burn us alive for the Guno meter, especially if talking about dead people.
This is a weird thing to note. This is actually so about the actress who plays Kitty. Her life is extremely sad, and she only this is a thing that she did often. She only played in sad movies, henceforth from here.
That's weird.
She believed, and this is just like me going off this here, is that the best way for an actor or an actress to basically master their craft is by living sadly. And you know, her whole thing is sad movies, so I mean, just always be sad. It will work out great.
That's terrible.
I mean,
Also, that's some dedication.
she was really well liked. I mean, hey, it worked out. Shit.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, eights all around.
Yeah,
Next up, we got another weird one to talk about. This is one of Hitchcock's first real sound films. This might be his first sound
it
film.
is its first.
Good. I didn't know that for sure. We're talking about Blackmail, the movie, not the subject.
Yeah, we won't get to blackmail until a little bit later. Those sneaky Americans.
I'm not sure if the Americans invented it, but yeah, we definitely made it iconic. Alfred Hitchcock's Blackmail. This is I refer. Sometimes I refer to this film as the shambles of a Hitchcock film. It's not bad. It's just really rough. The plot of Blackmail is about a girl who murders a guy in self-defense.
Yes. This is a fun thing for me. I thought it was intriguing, especially considering in a lot of these types of films that we would see, at least these days, it would often be a male, you know, but it's a female in this case, and this is an older movie too, so it's like wow.
We have a female protagonist, and she's actually pretty well written.
Yes.
Shocking. Who wrote this? Let me check. Alfred Hitchcock. Oh yeah, it's all men. Shocking that three men wrote a well put together woman in the 1920s. This is. I'm trying to think of a lot of this movie because it's a Hitchcock film. I can't really talk if I don't want to spoil it. I can't really talk about anything that happens over the course of the film because it's a Hitchcock film, so things are really slow. Everything gets revealed very slowly, and the film just kind of builds and builds and builds until everything explodes at the end.
Yes.
Giggity. So, what do you think? Actually, this is a great time to ask this since we're getting into prime Hitchcock. What do you think of him?
As Hitchcock the person?
Yeah, well, not the person. We're talking about people from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. They're going to be terrible. I'm talking more so about his films.
His films, I like them. I like him a lot, actually. Do I think he's like it's one of the greats? Yeah, of course he's one of the greats. That's kind of obvious. Um, but do I rank his movies like being comparable to the other cool guys we've seen thus far? For his first talkie, it was pretty good. But I kind of prefer the other content we've seen thus far compared to this one. That's just
That's
me though.
fair. Interestingly, as we get farther into the Hollywood Golden Age, which is coming about very soon, uh, Hitchcock kind of becomes an oasis if you get sick of the melodramas because he made Hitchcock films, right? They're thrillers, they're spy movies, all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And but currently he's in a pretty rough spot creatively. It's he's getting his style together.
um,
Do I think that this film was bad? Obviously not.
I do have a level piece of trivia that is actually very important as to. So while you were gone, I told the peoples here that it's gonna sound sexist because it is sexist, but it's also the truth. I speak on truth, baby. Is that a lot of people just sound the same, and there's a reason for this. There's an actual reason, and it's not because of sexism. It's actually a logical reason. So the actress in this film, leading lady, and Ani Andra had a very thick Czech accent. And that is not appropriate for this character. The character should not have an accent at all, for obvious reasons. This is actually, it comes into play as if you didn't know, this film was originally all silence. It was entirely silent. Until our boy,
Oh,
Sir Alfred Hitchcock, was like, okay, let's reshoot these scenes and add some sound. And basically making his first talkie. So
mm-hmm.
what they did is basically make the character sound more appropriate. Is that they would use a actress basically to basically speak over Annie here. In this case, Joan Barry was chosen to provide voice for her, but that was in post production, and mind you, dubbing technology did not exist yet. The solution for Barry was to just stand out of shot and read Alice's lines in the microphone as Andra mouthed them in front of the camera. This is actually not just the first instance of an actress voice being dubbed by another. It is also where the so technically the word dubbing doesn't really fit here because it's not technically that.
It's not in post, which is really strange.
Yeah.
But it kind of is dubbing. It's effectively dubbing. How's that?
Yeah. Also, this lady, as why it sounds kind of similar for women at the very least, because she does it for a lot of other actresses in many other films. This is kind of her whole thing.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how. We
That is, I didn't even think about that. I did not know that.
Yes, so she appears in another film called The Atlantic, which is also in 1929, but it's not on the list, so we won't be talking about that one. Um, she appears in a few other films that we'll see throughout the 30s, mostly the early, and she disappears after 1933.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
That's actually, it marks the exact end of the transitional sound period, which would make sense.
yeah. For the Gunnometer, yeah, the Gunnometer, the ladies here are pretty pogchamp. Especially Annie Andra. Annie Andra is a solid 10, would goon again. And of course, Joan Barry, the actual voice behind the character, also goonable. She's like a fucking Forvo. Let's keep seeing Annie in her place. That's pretty fucking sexist. But hey,
Context.
hey. This is actually a cool fun fact that Annie is a very very multilingual woman. So she appeared in a lot of shit because she just had that sway with her language skills. Basically, there's also things of it. So she was a Polish, Czech, Austrian, German, and French singer. Basically, put it like that.
Just Central Europe, all of them. Just throw them all in a bag.
Yes, she grew up in Austria, so as you might be able to tell, she was in the Austrian Empire for its collapse. So he is not surprised that she learned all those languages.
That is crazy to think about. That we have living people who lived during the Austrian Empire. That's so
Yeah.
Oh god, it's weird.
Okay, now you know what? No, hold on. You can't tell me that when you see this person, you don't think, ah, yeah, goon worthy. I think I see you're like, yeah, that's goonable.
You're just trying to convert me. I see how it is.
No, she's fucking great. Like holy shit. Like what the fuck is this? I wish more women with a sour hair like that. That's fucking great. God.
I mean, the airbrushing's helping, but yes, I get your point.
Uh,
What did you think of Blackmail as a film? Because
as
I am
a
curious.
film, mm, how do I? Okay, I think the film it suffered from one thing. If you pay attention, to her mouth, which actually slides back over to the other woman speaking, obviously, is that her lip syncing skills
Yeah.
are shit, and that kind of threw me off for a little bit. Um, that's surprising because lip syncing wasn't really a fucking thing yet.
Yeah, they were kind of making it up as they went along.
Yeah, I think this film is a 6 or 7 if I'm being really generous.
I gave Blackmail a 7.
Mmm.
Are you ready to talk about someone buying an Oscar?
Yes.
Let's talk about Coquette. I know a decent amount about this film. Coquette is a film whose plot is largely irrelevant compared to the story behind how this film came about. Very quickly, it's about like a southern rich woman having a romance with like a normal guy, and then tragedy plot happens.
Yeah.
None of this matters because this film only exists because Mary Pickford wanted it to exist. Mary Pickford was a big star in the 20s, and I believe also. No, just the 20s. She was in a few things in the 1910s, though. In 1909. Oh my goodness. So, yeah, she had some roles in the 1910s and in the 1920s.
What?
There is one problem, to her at least. Well into her 30s, or well into her 20s, sorry, she was playing children. She
Yeah.
had this kind of character actor problem where she always played innocent little girls.
Oh god.
And she wanted to revitalize her image like any child celebrity. The result was Coquette, where she wanted to play a devious Southern belle. The problem is Mary Pickford is garbage at playing this kind of character. Mary Pickford, I believe she picked the script, she basically co-produced this film. And to cement her new reputation as a multifaceted actress, she petitioned the brand new Academy by inviting as many of the judges to her house as possible, having tea with them, and very subtly talking about how amazing her performance is in Coquette. As we'll see later on, this actually got her the Oscar for Best Actress. However, this film, I believe, flopped horribly. No one really liked it. And everyone kind of really didn't appreciate Mary Pickford's performance.
This
At least that I know of.
this is actually where some fun trivia actually ties in. That so Miss Mary Pickford was extremely horrified of sound for actually good reason. For people like her, it would not play out very well. Even more so is when
Because her voice is obnoxious.
yeah. When her voice was recorded for the first time, and it's actually on record, that she said, and I quote, "That's not me. That's a pipsqueak voice. It's impossible. It sounds like I'm 12 or 13." Yes, that is exactly what she said. It's on record. That's what she said.
You know, if she just had kept doing that thing, she would have been great at it.
I think that it's very weird for me to say this. When it's like I want to see what she like looks like, and I'm like, bro, she looks like one of my fucking like my like distant relatives and like my ancestry chart. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's kind of spooky. Um, I think uh, that this is something that's very important, and we'll get to it at another video because like an actual video is our stream is a segment called "People of This Decade," which we would have done maybe this stream, but we kind of can't do it because we didn't prepare for it. It's something I just dropped like, oh yeah,
Fair enough.
it's something we should just do. I do believe.
Yeah. If you want to leave a comment talking if that's if you want us to do, if you think that's a good idea, leave a comment.
Yeah. I think this is, despite her being a obnoxious B word, I do believe that she belongs on the list for a whole different reason. She kind of inspired a whole brand, or rather genre, in a sense, of these actresses who can just really good at playing children, and we will see that repeatedly for a very very fucking long time, even now. By the way.
Oh God.
Yeah, she kind of started the whole thing, and I kind of hate it. But she deserves some credit where it's due. Bitch, that's what she is. But she's also kind of cracked because if you guys didn't know, I thought she mentioned this already, but she was one of the people behind the founding of United Artists. If you didn't know that, now you know.
Yes, Mary Pickford is one of the United Artists founders, which is great. We have another future has been.
Yup.
As a part of United Artists.
She is also significant in the fact that she's one of the first actresses to meet a president.
That's wild.
Yeah, she met President Herbert Hoover, which is kind of cracked.
Hell yeah. What did? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Who? Okay, now politics, blah blah blah. Hoover, and I'm gonna say this because it's very controversial, and people don't agree with me, but it's true. If it wasn't for the Great Depression, he'll be labeled as one of the greatest presidents in American history. I stand on game. He was president at the wrong time. God damn it. He had so many good ideas, but as the actual film itself, I thought the film was mediocre, very much so. I could tell there was an attempt here, and in fairness, I can't hate her so much because this was her first talkie. Man, your first anything will never be the greatest. If it is, then you've peaked for real. But
well, I think Orson Welles would like to have something to say about that.
Yeah. Miss I think Miss Pickford, she should have just kept, as you said, with her thing she was good at. But I think that this was necessary, not for her, but for the whole media, for women in general. Her collapse was necessary.
Yeah.
It taught them a lesson, basically.
I thought the film was kind of crap.
There is some other fun facts here. I will just quickly mention like 2 or 3 of them. Miss Pickford actually did. This is weird to mention because it's nothing you would really hear from any actor, actress, director, blah blah blah. She had a long time cameraman that she just had around like on the spot. He was actually so his name was Charles Rosher, who we won't hear much about at all because he's just cameraman. Nobody really. Okay, it's really sad to say that. No one cares about the damn cameraman. No one cares. That's just how it is.
They're a technician.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like okay, don't get me wrong. They're important. Yes, they are key, if you will. The most important key, is, I guess, in a way. But he is so important in the sense that he was on so many films, but she burnt some bridges that she should not have burnt with this fellow. And her reasoning was creative differences, and he was let go and replaced by Carl Struss, a very important name that we will hear a few more times.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
Is that all the fun facts?
Just got one more. Despite the mixed reviews, the film was played in one of Los Angeles' cinemas continuously for from 10 a.m. to midnight for 5 years.
What in the world?
It is. This is my personal belief is that she paid him to do that.
Because it couldn't have been that popular.
It was not. I swear she paid him. There's no proof, but she paid him. I'll stand on that. But
we didn't quite get to it. What did you think of the film itself?
The film itself, as I said, I thought it was mediocre. Overall it was mediocre. The plot, meh. The sound, everything else was literally superior to it. And like literally this whole year, everything we will see, no matter how bad they might be, their sound is superior. which is kind of weird to say out loud.
I suppose, yeah. Um, I hated this film. I gave it a two.
I'm a bit nicer. I'll give it like a fucking four and a fucking three. Not that nice.
Not too far off. Let's see. Disraeli. Oh God.
Mmm.
This was a film about a obscure historical figure that didn't really do a whole lot and probably wasn't that significant.
It is also based on a play.
Oh,
Yes. Um.
that's unfortunate.
So, what can we say about this?
About Disraeli is the most boring film of the year, perhaps.
So, I think this is actually kind of this film is important to a small degree.
Oh,
Because it captures a particular time frame that is not too well known. Well, of course, we know about his history, but it kind of captures the essence of that time frame pretty well, at least from what some people I've seen said. It's pretty accurate, which is important because we don't have any actual freaking videos on that stuff.
well, yeah.
It's I think it's cool. The actual film itself was the shit. Also, it was not restored very well, which does not help either.
Yeah, it's hard because we can't really rate films based on how well they're preserved, but it also doesn't help the viewing experience.
Yeah. It's just this film could have been better, but I do have fun facts which will pad out this stupid portion of here.
This film.
Yeah, this is jeez, it was stupid. Okay, this film would be Mark George Arliss's first appearance on screen in 5 years after his first released and also his also first sound film and dialogue film as well. Um, allegedly, or excuse me, not allegedly, this is actually true. In a separately filmed trailer, Vitaphone production reel number 3130, George Ellis speaks to the audience about the film.
Oh, like a trailer?
Yes, this was one of the first ever trailers for a film.
Old-timey trailers are kind of wild because they're not like clips from the movie, they're just people who go on stage and tell you how good a film is.
Yeah. Assuming his copyright has not lapsed already, this film is in order produced in 1929 has entered U.S. public domain. Of course, there will always be
Yes.
that one film that will be very, very iffy. I don't know which, but someone here is probably iffy.
Yes, that's a really important thing that I probably should have said at the beginning of the episode, but hey, it's the new year when we're recording this. So if you're watching this, at any point really, every film we are talking about should be public domain.
Yeah. It's one of those, as we said plenty of times in the other episodes, is that sometimes a film is iffy because other countries don't abide by other countries, of course, copyright laws and the IPs and all that shit. Sometimes it takes a few extra years.
Yeah, but these films are all public domain.
Yeah.
And they are. It's great to see these in the public domain, even if this was a trash year. And hey, next year we'll have some great films in the public domain. But there's not much to talk about with Disraeli. It's about the purchase of the
Suez Canal.
Suez Canal.
Yeah. I believe also somewhere in the fucking film, if I'm trying to remember correctly here, is that they also talk about the they
Anti-Semitism.
well, that of course it's the 1920s, it's 1920s, man. Of course it's gonna talk about that. I believe they also talk about India at one point or another in this film as well.
It's about colonialism in general. It's like a race to see who can be the biggest colonialist.
Oh, I wish we would have hopped in that game. Well, we kind of did with Liberia. Oh, and I guess the Philippines. Oh, and Puerto Rico, and Alaska, and the Louisiana Purchase. Actually, we were in balls deep. Never mind.
It's just a little different.
A smidge with Liberty. That's our excuse, of course.
Of course, obviously. Uh, it's kind of a weird plot because I'm not really rooting for Disraeli. Not because he's Jewish. I don't care. I'm not rooting for him because he's basically his whole thing is that he wants to do more colonialism for his country, and that just feels weird
It's
to root for a character like
what
that.
I will say. It's something that is, what is actually a very important thing. As the modern audience, we just think it's fucking weird. But back then, people were okay with that. It's something that's totally normal, and it's okay. You know what? That can actually explain as to why it's not really connecting with us because it's gonna probably waste a damn time. It's very important.
We've kind of advanced as a society.
uh, or regress in some cases. I'm staring at regression to some degree. I want to be like, give me a monarchy again, man. Leave me my powdered wig.
Again with the strange political opinions podcast.
It's great.
What would you give Disraeli?
Thinking about it more, and because how society is, I really want to dislike the film, and I do, but I can't hate on it too much because again, product of its time, product of its time. I will be fair. This is a fair rating. I'll give it a fucking 5. A fucking 5.2 to be exact.
I gave it a 4.
That works.
Yeah, it's not far off, and yeah, it depends. I'm just not being generous. You ready for another 10?
This is one of the greatest films ever.
Legitimately, I think we both agree that this is one of. I believe in my review, I referred to Man with a Movie Camera as the best experimental film ever made. Now, granted, Scyther, you haven't seen a bunch of experimental films. I've seen a couple of them. But I'm sure you could agree that this is one of the best experimental things you've seen.
Yes.
So, Man with a Movie Camera is not a film in the strictest sense. It has no plot, really. It doesn't really have any form of narrative or structure. It is a film that, in the beginning, has a title card basically telling the audience this film exists to prove that you can disconnect art from cinematography. I don't agree with that message, though I do think it's an interesting message to explore, and I think they tried to do it very convincingly in their own way. This is it's like 2 hours, right? How long is Man with a Movie Camera? It's about an hour, actually. Okay. Um, it's an hour and 8 minutes of mostly it's just random camera angles and cool camera tricks, basically, set to music. Now, the one that's on YouTube that you can watch has a modern soundtrack, and that is the way I would recommend watching this film. I usually don't like recommending watching with modern soundtracks, but it was made specifically for Man with a Movie Camera, and it is wonderful. Did you watch it with the modern soundtrack?
Yes.
Oh, oh, that soundtrack! It was wonderful.
So this is because autism. I have to every time it pops
Oh,
up.
trains.
Yes. So the train here is very confusing on what it could be. There are two possibilities. It is a series of or a series E um, type of train. The problem is of how it's angled. I can't really tell because they look pretty similar to from the angle it was hit at. So yeah, that's your autism for today.
It's also nearly 100-year-old film, which means it's going to be hard to pick out details like that.
Yes. If it was like a nice side profile, I could tell you off the damn bat. But those two were the most likely choices.
Fair enough. Anything interesting about those trains?
So I okay. Well, one was very known for exploding.
Which is great because there's a scene in this where a guy digs underneath the train tracks to get a below shot of the train.
um.
Soviet Union. Oh, so it's important to mention this is a Soviet film.
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna first dive into fun facts here, but I do have this film actually has quite a number of fucking fun facts, oddly. So this
Yeah.
film, for starters, was actually filmed over a 3-year period.
Mm.
Also, It was allegedly only hold on, let me make sure I have this correct here. So the film was alleged to be filmed only in a singular city. This is false. It was actually filmed in Moscow, Odessa, Kharkiv, and Kiev. Mind you, three of those cities are now in what is now known as Ukraine, but at the time it was all just Soviet Union.
So the Soviet bloc.
Yes. Um, so it was actually quite concerned that how the film would be received, and but it might be destroyed. So
Oh,
Dezika Vertov basically took out a messaging in Pravata to try and explain the film's intentions and its anti-conventional stance. It was basically very tactfully received. Like, oh wow, okay, okay, yeah, sure, we'll set this. Nothing wrong here. This is also have to be kind of very wordy on how I say this next one. Is at roughly the 1 hour mark, there's a scene of a youngster at a shooting gallery. One of the targets has a distinctive thing,
this.
a very distinctive symbol that is, mind you, this event takes roughly 10 years before the Soviets actually attack the Germans. So it was something that they were just doing.
I forgot about that. That's a weird scene in this film.
This is actually a weird. This is because of the history is that the Germans and the Soviets were, of course, mortal enemies, but there was a period of time where they were like besties. It was a weird period. I
I
don't think
assume it was when they were all related.
kinda, not really. It was kind of like, hey, the Germans were like, hey, well, I'll leave you alone. You leave me alone. Bah. Let's fucking kill Poland together.
Isolationism.
Uh,
That's interesting.
yes, I of course have prepared a speech for this greatest piece of cinema.
I will sit politely by and listen to said speech for an actually good Soviet film.
Ah. Today we gather to celebrate one of the most revolutionary achievements in cinematic history. Dezaga Vertov, I probably mispronounced that because I don't care. This film is not just a movie; it is an artistic manifesto, a bold experiment and a timeless tribute to the power of cinema itself. At its core, Man of a Movie Camera is an audacious exploration of what the film can be, at a time when most movies were narrative driven and theatrical in style. Vertov's envisioned a language of cinema, one that used uniquely visual, free from constraint of a plot and dialogue. He sought to create a film of truth, a pure form of storytelling that could reveal the rhythm and essence of life itself. And what a rhythm he captured. It was perfect. Through dazzling montages, rapid cuts, split screen, slow motion, and double exposure, Vert has transformed into ordinary scenes of Soviet urban life. Workers at their machines, tramps gliding through the cities, children playing into a symphony of motion. This is not just a documentation, it was poetry in motion. An ode to modernity, labor in the collective human spirit. Every frame pulsates with energy, and it propels us forward, mirroring the heartbeat of an ever-evolving world. What makes Man with a Movie Camera one of the greatest films ever is not merely its technical brilliance, though it remains a masterclass in editing and cinematography, but its ambition. Vertov challenged audience to rethink the purpose of cinema. He believed that film could be a tool for education, revolution, and inspiration. He dared to envision a future where movies were not escapist entertainment, but a lens through which we could better understand our shared humanity. That is all.
Hell yeah. I did have an interesting question. What genre would you say Man with a Movie Camera is? Because I labeled it as actuality film.
Mmm. Actuality is quite fitting for this. Because, like, he's. So, one could argue it's one of those, the old timey documentaries as they're just vibing, but they're not really documenting anything, like a whole subject, they're just doing shit all around.
There's also no narration or commentary on the footage, which would put it more into the actuality category.
But one could also argue that the story, or rather the plot, is the one that you, the viewer, whoever is viewing art, mind you, thinks it is. Which would be a clever nod, of course, which I believe he was going for to begin with.
Yes, you kind of the human mind will assemble a plot even if there isn't one, and
Yep.
that is very much happening with Man with a Movie Camera. 10.
This is an easy 10. One of the greatest films ever from the Soviet Union.
Which is actually saying quite a lot. There was some very good Soviet films.
Mm-hmm. The next one is my favorite, Pandora's Box. Which, before we actually get into Pandora's Box, we had about a figure who helped this film remain, and we get to actually see it.
Oh.
This is a figure we will talk about much later in much more detail. Hugh Hefner. Yeah, the fucking porn guy.
Oh yeah, he was one of the people who preserved this film.
Yes, he is very important to film preservation. I know, right? Weird. The guy who basically started one of the largest porn empires in the entire world was a major fucking movie nerd.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Eventually, when we start doing, I am quite hopeful with the person of the people of this decade. We will most definitely be including Hugh Hefner in the 70s, of course. Far from now.
Yeah, I think isn't he like a child at the moment?
He is like 3 years old. Yeah, he was born in 1926.
He's old. Was old.
Yeah, he's very much dead now.
Yes. I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Pandora's Box. This is a German film. It's a tragedy film. I was kind of hoping it was going to be a masterpiece. It still turned out pretty decent, though I think there are some writing mistakes, and it kind of... I think my main problem with Pandora's Box, the plot's really hard to explain, but it's about a woman's downfall, is they pick up a lot of plot points and then just kind of forget about them. Like the lesbian romance that's happening. They just kind of go, and then it's not a part of the movie anymore. And there's a lot of things like that where the movie just kind of forgets about stuff.
So this is actually a film that stars a woman who is that she's deemed one of the most important female icons in history of movies. Yes. Her name, if I remember correctly, it was Louise Brooks. She is a super important. Like many actresses before her and many after, even now, her downfall. I'm glad you mentioned downfalls. She had her own downfall in real life. She ended up, despite being so important, so rich at one point, she ended up broken and homeless, and died on the streets.
Much like the main character of this film, weirdly enough. Which I usually don't do spoilers, but that is wild that she shared a very similar fate to her character.
Yeah. So she ended up retiring. So after she started like 17 silent films and 8 sound films, she would end up retiring. And then she fell upon very harsh financial hardship and became a paid escort. Yes, she was an escort. And then she struggled with alcoholism and suicidal tendencies. I don't worry, I included that suicide hotline thing if you guys need that. Following the rediscovery of her films by the cinephiles in the 1950s, a reclusive Brooks began writing articles about her film career in many essays that drew actually a lot of acclaim. She would publish her memoir, Lulu in Hollywood, in 1982. 3 years after that, she would die of a heart attack.
Oh.
Yeah. It's kind of sad to see such an important icon just go like that.
It is the obscurity part is the weirdest thing.
Yep. One of the biggest films that she was in actually was her infamous role in, of course, Pandora's Box.
Yes.
So I thought this film was intriguing for the plot points it had, which was it's kind of weird to think of, it's about this immoral girl, and it goes back the reality of this actress who became immoral herself. And kind of it's a weird parallel that she ended up just like the character in the film. It's one of those, oh wow, you really lived that shit, bro.
That is wild that she lived her own movie fate. That is crazy.
Yeah. Also, very important in this film. It's kind of weird to think about. It actually features the first ever lesbian character ever in film, which is weird.
Yes, that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, she says, "Oh yeah, guys, we included lesbian. Get over it. Nobody cares. Nobody paid attention to
Yeah.
it." um. So, film historians also have credited the sudden presence of sound and moving pictures for the commercial struggles of this film in particular.
Oh.
Yes. Interestingly, before Louise Brooks would be selected for this film, the person who made the film actually wanted Marlene Dietrich. But
Oh.
hold on, I'll give you a thing. This is who they wanted. She's not getting her name Goonameter, I tell you what.
Oh, it's that girl that is it Ernst Lubitsch was always working with?
Yes. She was also in a film I think we might be seeing in 1930s. It's called Morocco.
We are watching Morocco. It's on the list.
Yeah, she was in a number of films up until '78. So, and her last film was called Just a Gigolo. So that's a thing.
Is that in reference to that one song that a million people covered?
I think so.
I think that was on our music list. Let me see. Okay, so Marlene is she? Sorry, not Murnau. What the fuck's wrong with me? Sternberg, Joseph von Sternberg. She always worked with Sternberg for some reason. She always plays a prostitute.
Um,
Sternberg has a
thing. So, according to Louise Brooks, of course, in her memoir, Lulu in Hollywood, Alice Roberts was not aware that her character was a lesbian until filming began. It was initially opposed to her character being attracted to Lulu whatsoever. George Wilhelm Paps would have to convince Roberts to pretend that she was making love to Paps, who was standing just off the camera. That's the only way they could do it with her.
That is very 1920s.
Louise would also admit that she was physically attracted to Gustav Dessel, which made it very easier for her to play with scenes with him. Which yeah,
very Hollywood still. Let's see. What would you give Pandora's Box?
I thought that this film, it's such a weird. Okay, I will never do this again with any film. It's just because of how the actress, like the leading actress, the most important actor in this fucking set, if you will, it's a parallel with life in the fucking fiction. It's so weird. I feel like this film. There should be like a whole study based on that because it's so weird. This is a film with a 7. It's so weird.
Same rating I give it, actually.
I feel like
we're very much on key today.
Yeah, I feel like if this film just tried a little harder to stay consistent, I would have been an easy 8, maybe even a 9.
This could have been a masterpiece, but it's just a little weak.
I actually do look forward to actually like covering memoirs because this lady, I want to know her story. It's so intriguing. Like, how did the movie parallel real life so hard? It just predicted this bitch's downfall for real.
That would be. You should. That'd be a good video to do. Just a quick little video on this book.
Yeah, I will hunt down her memoir. It will be an intriguing time.
Hell yeah. You ready to talk about more trash?
Yes, the Broadway melody.
The Best Picture Broadway melody.
Yeah.
This film is a musical. This is the only time you're going to be seeing a musical win Best Picture. Actually, there might be other musicals, but it's very rare. Usually the Academy hates musicals.
I feel like musicals. Okay, this is gonna be a thing. I hate musicals. I fucking despise musicals to a very large degree. I hope they can fall out like so in the 2010s musicals were popping. High School Musical boys.
Musical. It's a musical about two girls, I think, who are trying to get into this play, and it's like super cool and stuff, and they have to commit multiple felonies to get into this play.
Yeah.
It's
It's
there's nothing really here. It's just music, basically, right?
yeah. It does include a damn train, but I'm not gonna keep repeating the same damn train every damn time because this train was just so damn common. So we'll keep pushing.
It was this an MGM film, right?
Yeah,
Maybe MGM just had one train, and they just kept using that one train.
yeah.
That would actually make sense.
it's really lazy. I'm so tired of it.
Yeah.
Interestingly, so this film actually has two versions. If you didn't know that, Oz.
Mm.
The first version is the
Oh, I
one
did.
with audio. So this film also.
Oh, there's. Wait.
Yep.
Sorry, I hate to interrupt.
Yeah.
This is a musical, right?
Yeah.
Why is there a silent version of a musical?
So the film quote, unquote, does actually have a plot going on. That's the whole thing.
Ah,
Yeah, it does actually have
okay.
a plot. I just thought the plot is boring.
And kind of takes a back seat.
Yeah, it's a major backseat. It's not important, but it does have a plot. But so the two versions is the sound and the silent version, and this is my opinion. I think the silent version is the superior because I actually focus on the damn plot. And the plot is
That
actually pretty good.
true.
The plot is actually pretty damn good if you don't pay attention to the music musical portion.
Which takes up like half the film.
Yeah. It is also considered the top grossing film of 1929.
I guess people were excited about sound.
Yeah. It is also MGM's first all talking picture and the first sound film to win Best Picture. Man. Okay. This film, so this musical also has sequels. It does have sequels.
As well as another film. They planned to make the Broadway Melody a yearly installment. Forever, presumably.
Which I'm not against. That's actually a really cool idea. Actually, that like it's a constant. It's like that'd been so cool. But
we're gonna talk about it in a couple films after this. But there was a big idea in Hollywood to make these like essentially content farm films where they would just make the same film over and over again.
Which I mean, that was like big brands, like way ahead of damn time because people were doing it now, literally.
They just were like 100 years too early.
Yeah. Just imagine like this shit actually like looking like it actually like went off, like it actually was successful. They actually did it, and like
it'd be like Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, and like but like then we have like modern day where people are trying to avoid that and like it like actually like creativity and not just bullshit. I would actually like love that damn timeline.
Interesting, because yeah, it would have been. I mean, we kind of do see that. We'll talk about it more in the Hollywood Golden Age.
Yeah.
But there is that. It is very much like making films almost systematically. This was terrible.
I will judge it based on, well, I'll say this outright. I'm judging it by each version. There are two versions. So the musical, the outright sound version, is shit. It's a 2. Now, this will be controversial. This will be controversial. The silent film version is a 6. Is a easy 6.
It's decent.
Yes, it is decent. The plot is good enough for me to actually like sit in there. I would gladly watch it for its plot, but I cannot stand a fucking musical.
You know, that's interesting. We've never seen, because obviously during the late 20s, this was a really common thing to have a sound and silent version. Primarily, not because they were meant to be viewed both, is a lot of theaters at this time weren't rigged to do sound yet, so they obviously didn't want to just exclude half of the theaters, so they would make a silent version. Obviously, the silent version was meant to be inferior. It was just meant to be like, oh, here's the film, by the way.
Yeah.
It is. I've never seen a case, and I'll have to look into this. I'll have to watch the silent version to see if it's better. I presume it is, because the music is terrible. The actual song, the Broadway melody, awful. I've never seen a film though where the silent version is better, and I wouldn't doubt it either.
There are two like more fun facts. This one is kind of fucking funny. As of November 2020, so it's been a while since it was like last updated. It had a film score of 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, based on 24 reviews, making it the site's worst reviewed film to have won an Academy Award for Best Picture. And
this is oh god, sorry.
So this film was also shot very quickly and cheaply for about $350,000, as it was largely viewed as an experiment. As producer Irving Thalberg had no idea if audiences would actually respond to it, and he was proven correct. However, it would actually earn more than $4 million.
Oh.
Yeah, so they actually made their money back on the shit, like, and then some.
Well, yeah, one Best Picture. This is, if you look at any list for the of ranking all the Best Picture films, this film routinely is either the bottom, right? Or it's in the bottom 5. And I haven't seen every Best Picture film. I haven't seen most of them yet. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm starting to think that this is the worst one. Like, I have not seen a Best Picture film worse than this yet.
We'll
talk about it more at the awards, but this was a disgrace.
Yeah, this is actually a little bit of sad fact here. The film actually, so the dancing scenes actually all had color originally, but they're all lost now. So it's only in black and white now.
So, but originally there would have been like color copies of this film distributed.
Yes, sadly they are all
Technicolor or is
yes,
it like hand painted?
Technicolor.
Oh, this is really early Technicolor. So would that mean it's 2-color Technicolor?
Technically,
like
yeah.
We see in yeah, interesting. What would you give the Broadway melody?
Just for the sound one, actually has music like sound a 2, and for the, of course, for the silent one, a 6.
Oh, sorry, you gave your rating.
Yeah.
I gave it a 4, so I actually gave it the middle of your 2 ratings. Hey, you want to talk about something kind of good and by a bunch of people who will make really, really good films?
Yeah, the Coconuts.
Yes, this is the first Marx Brothers feature film. Did you know anything about the Marx Brothers before watching this?
No, this is my shitty joke. I assume they related to a certain other Marx.
Perhaps one of Carl?
Yeah, my homeboy.
No, yeah, they actually have no relation. They were a vaudeville act. Which is really weird. But this is their first feature-length film. It is about a hotel. And whenever we talk about a Marx Brothers film, I'm not going to discuss the plot, really, because the plot's not important. The plot is mostly a setup for shenanigans. I think you would agree.
Yes.
I thought it was pretty funny. Wasn't like gut-bustingly hilarious, but there were some funny scenes, like where Groucho, the main guy, the fast talker, is talking with Chico, the guy who has a thick accent, and they keep having this back and forth where he's trying to explain the plans to him, but they keep miscommunicating. It's quite good stuff.
I think this is this is the behind the scenes thing that I think is just so cool. The guys behind this are so creative. They are okay. So of course, when we do the most innovative and all that shit for the people of this decade, as a group, these men belong on a list. This is a really interesting idea that like this like propelled sound kinda to a degree for like background plots or like stuff. If you didn't know, all paper used as props is soaking wet in this film. This was done to prevent overloading the early sound equipment with paper clinking noise.
That must have been so unnerving.
Yes.
Can you hand me this paper? Ugh, it's soggy.
So this is actually another case where the people that made the film were actually disgusted by the film itself. They hated this film. They were appalled by it, if you would say.
Oh, really?
Yes. So when this film like hit Broadway, they were offered to buy the negatives from Paramount so that they could burn it. Yes, they want to burn it.
That is tough.
Yes, we will see in some instances, some actors, directors, or this, that, and third will openly buy or try in some way to just make sure a film is never seen because they hate it. And this is from a perspective of a person that loves to archive. I hate you for even trying to do that. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I would do the same shit too. This is dog shit.
Yeah, this is as someone who's seen most Marx Brothers films, this is definitely one of the more inferior Marx Brothers films. But it's good. It's based around a hotel, and that's the theme.
So this film is, like I said, this is a very funny film, no matter what. In some of the gags, for example, one where Harpo eats the lobby telephone and drinks from the inkwell, this was actually not in the original play. To improvise to improvise the gags, um, the telephone was made of chocolate and the inkwell was filled with Coca Cola.
So it was actually quite pleasant.
Yes, it was such a weird little thing, and I think it's so cool.
That's interesting. There is a really funny thing I noticed. I don't know if you noticed it. Did you notice, especially Groucho, whenever they tell a joke, Groucho will look directly at the camera and pause as
Yes,
if to wait for audience applause?
he was doing a
Which is like, I get it, but
so he's kind of like one of those actors that first ever well, I would say first. I'm sure someone maybe prior did it too, but he's like one of the first notable people that say that he was doing that thing where they would just pause, like and like okay, that's their gag. You would see that a few more times with, for example, the Three Stooges. They do that too, to a degree. Um,
yeah.
I'm very excited to cover that shit. That's be so fun. Um, yeah, it's just kind of weird seeing these early gags will be like carry on for quite a while. It's not really a thing. Well, it's a thing now. It's like some comedy, but it's not really a big thing in movies anymore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Here's a sad fact that no original print of the Coconuts has survived complete. The version of the film that exists now was pieced together in the 1950s from three partial prints, which explains the dramatic changes in photographic quality.
Mm,
Yes.
that's rough.
Yep, unfortunately, it's just how it is. It's not like, well, even now, of course, we still lose films, usually from other countries. I mean, of course, there's some American films that are still even. It's kind of weird thing about American films just being lost because they're just not archived properly. It's like, wow, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is sad.
2024 and
I
2025, you still losing films. Kind of cracked.
that's rough. That makes me sad.
Yep.
Um, what did you think of like what would you rate Coconuts?
I thought, this is my a bit above, and I actually would actually usually rate this with like this kind of film a little lower, but it's good. It's a seven.
Yeah, I did we get the same rating again? No, I gave it a 6. Okay. It was it was good. It was decent. You already talked about a weird, really weird film
Yes.
conceptually. The Hollywood Review of 1929. Before we say anything, I wanted this film to be good. I wanted this concept to be so fun. Like a variety show movie? That's so cool. But it sucks.
The idea is cool.
Yeah.
I
If only the movie was.
so this is it's an intriguing film no matter what, but I think this one like the ideas they had were just so I'm like, you know what, I'm fucking saying it's so revolutionary for the damn time. It's actually like revolutionary. It's so cool, but God, was it horrible.
This was so boring. The what was it? The who were the duo comedians who came out? They were really big. Oh god, they made some other movies. I'll remember it when we talk about them. But there's some comedian acts. There's a scene with Buster Keaton where he is completely out of place. And that's kind of all I remember about this film. It was a lot of really bland performances, and the host who kind of introduces things and transfers or not transfers, sorry, transitions between acts. He's so bad. He's terrible.
Yeah. Something I will say, this film would kill a career. This film killed John Gilbert's career.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough, buddy.
He died in 1936. His last film was in
Oh.
1933.
Oh yeah, so he didn't make much after this. Oof.
Yeah, it's always a shame to see, and like he of course tried his hardest to remain relevant, but this film really did him in. But he was a
Sounds like audiences didn't like it much either.
so he was a really big silent star actor. He was in over 100 fucking films. It's kind of crazy to think about.
That is an insane repertoire of films. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
no matter how people think on the man, at least he will be remembered as an actor who was in so much shit from 1915 all the way up to the glorious year of 1934. Excuse me, not 1933, 1934.
That is interesting.
I think
Uh,
that the film itself was jeez. I I, I really want to tackle a film and its fucking plot. And I'm like, man, I really don't like it. But I don't want to be mean.
okay, it doesn't really have. To be fair, it doesn't really have a plot.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, Buster Keaton's in this, right?
Yeah, there's a scene where there's supposed to be a sexy girl in like a clam, and then Buster Keaton comes out in the same outfit you were expecting a woman to be in, and then the act's all confused.
um, man, this is actually where a funny part of the finale actually comes into play here. Is so he is seen but is not singing because he is still at this point in time a silent star.
He's the whole thing is that he doesn't emote, so he's not supposed to speak really.
Yeah. There is a so Miss Renee Edouard, to pronounce it like that, is that she was supposed to appear in a skit with Jack Benny, but due to her French accent, yes, that's actually one of the reasons, and her declining health, she was not allowed to do so.
Interesting.
I just hate that due to accents and the like. So this is actually weird, but a lot of the actors in this film just die or just outright quit around this time. For example,
Well, this is the big shift in Hollywood.
yeah, but all the death is just weird to me. Like these people are like even at that time were still considered quite young. For example, Miss Renee Edouard died in 1933.
Might also be the depression.
That could be it. It is pretty sad. And she, you know what? This because I haven't said anything about it for a bit. The Guno meter. She's at 8.
Hell yeah. There's an actor. This is actually a fun fact. I think it's John Gilbert. If I'm thinking of the same guy, yep, I think it's John Gilbert. This would effectively kill his career.
Yeah, that's a fellow I mentioned earlier.
Yes, because his voice. Everyone expected him to have this deep, romantic voice, and he sounds like he's about 15.
Yeah, it actually breaks my heart that he got fucked over just because of that.
A lot of actors did, and a lot of actors were terrified of it.
Um,
However,
yeah.
yeah, so go ahead.
I was gonna send you this. That's like one of her breakout films she even starred in.
How about we don't?
Is that film we
What
covered?
would you give the Hollywood Review of 1929? I don't think we said the title. I might have forgotten to say the title. Oops. 1929 Hollywood Review.
I think that this film, it, I want to like it.
I want to like it. Yeah.
It's a just because I'm being very generous, I'm being very nice, a free.
I gave it the 2. I wanted to love it,
What I
but it
think
just wasn't there for me.
I think that would have been a better idea, and this is like such a weird thing that I think like a movie should like do this like today, like modern day, at the very end of a decade. An actual like Hollywood review of 1929, like it covers each of the great movies of that year. It'd been so cool, and then like you get to see like all the actors, like they're all on stage, and like they're all like playing as their characters, and they're all conflicting and shit. That would be neat.
Would also make a good YouTube video.
Yup.
For
Imagine
a studio.
James Bond is fighting Indiana Jones. I would have paid for that.
I would. Oh my goodness! Imagine like an '80s one. Oh, oh.
Let's get
Um,
uh let's get to the next one, which is the Love Parade.
I did not watch this film, so we're probably not going to spend too much time on it. What did you think of the Love Parade? What is the Love Parade? I've
I
only kind of watched this film. I'll tell that story in a minute.
I actually really liked this film. It actually caught me by surprise. I didn't think I would like it. So okay, again, I hate musicals, but this is a musical.
Oh,
Yes, so it is a plot. So the queen of a mythical yes, a mythical country marries a courier who finds his new life unsatisfying. Yes, he is not satisfied with his now magical life. Bastard. um
what a dickhead!
yes, he got a damn baddie, an absolute dime. I'm bored, man.
What a bitch! And the film is just about that.
Effectively.
What a bitch!
That is effectively the plot. Hold on, I actually made a damn note for the ending of the film. Um, so Jesus Christ, this film is like the plot is just so like it's unnecessary. Like it's not bad plot. No, it's actually kind of cool. Like this dude actually has this amazing life now. He's just fucking bored of it. It's like it shows you that like people in the modern day can actually like really like a freak like thing on this one. Like really, it's actually like kind of like a calling card kinda. It's very deep. Is that yeah? You can get rich. You become this uber smart person. You can get this, that, and a third, but you'll end up being unhappy anyway. And I think that's kind of cool as a
That's a
message.
nice message. Yeah.
For that message, but I feel like this film, while this is me trying to find like a bright shining light in a thing, and maybe that's not how the director was going for, but that's my hope, as a person is like that's the message you're going for. In reality, it's probably not what they're going for at all. They're trying to tell a shitty story. Um, so
Trying to get the movie out the door is probably what they were going
yeah,
for.
so he chaffs at the standard of livings for a consort, which he basically is, which basically means he has little to do, very little to do, and he is forced to take action, and that is his whole thing. And he's just not happy being a damn consort. Which, dude, just be happy that you're married to a damn dime piece and you're rich now, literally. And she's nice too. She's not even mean. She's so nice.
This
Um,
guy really is just absolutely unsatisfiable.
yes. Which I cannot blame. I mean, this is again my interpretation, but like when you think deeper on it, that when you reach this pinnacle, yes, this is a pinnacle for people at one point or another. Marrying a fucking royal, like even now, if you marry a damn royal, that's like a dream for like a lot of girls and
Yeah.
guys. Like, wow, now I'm here. Now what? And that's just something that's cool to think about as a person in modern day, where many people like reach this damn point and they're just unhappy still, which is it's so cool.
Yeah.
Something that's so very important is this was a huge box office hit. And it also I gotta remember this. Hold on, there's the actual like fucking fun fact is so this picture really so it released in a French language called Parade of Amour. Chevalier had thought that
Ooh.
he would never be able to be capable of acting as a royal courtier, and had to be persuaded by Lopche. This huge box office would basically appear right after the Wall Street crash, and did much to save the fortunes of Paramount. Yes, Paramount was saved because of this fucking shit film.
So I take it you didn't love the film.
I love the message. I love the message. Let me get it straight. Like, based off message alone, this is a fucking 10. It's such a awesome retrospective. Just thinking about like, wow, you could reach this pinnacle, but now it's like, now what? Like I said repeatedly, like yeah, like wow. But this is not about the message. Well, it kind of is, but it's a movie. It has a plot, but I have to judge it based on other things too, where it just drags down an amazing message that this character is just insufferable.
Yeah, I can imagine you would have to make him relatable for this kind of plot to work.
And I think if you're in a situation where you are rich or you reached that point in your life where, wow, I did everything I want to do, now what? Then you can relate to this movie and you would rate this differently from me. You would probably give it a 9 or a 10. But I cannot give it that. And again, this is my kind of bias in a sense, judgment. It's actually ranked a little bit lower than this. I'd give it just a 7. But in reality, it's a fucking 5. Message alone, 10.
Fair enough. So what you're saying is it would be really good remake material.
Yes, it is based off a novel called Le Prince Consort. Or rather, The Prince Consort.
Oh yeah, more trash. The Valiant.
Ooh, I like this one.
I don't know. This is one of those movies that is just like, here's a mystery. We're gonna slowly unravel it throughout the entire film, and that's all you're getting. There's very little else here. This is about a guy who a family thinks is their long lost like family member, and he turns himself in for a murder and isn't really very descriptive. That's about as far as I got with the Valiant, like understanding it.
Yeah.
The big reveal is that no, he isn't the family member, but he actually was in the same regiment as a soldier with that family member. Oh, by the way, he's dead.
Oh.
And then the film just kind of ends.
Yeah. This is so I love mysteries, hence why I liked this film.
Yeah, fair enough. Mysteries can be very engaging.
Yeah, it's what kept me engaged, which is very important. So someone like me, if I'm not engaged, I'm just not gonna watch. That's how it is.
Valid.
Yeah. There actually is. I hate when films have the same name. So there's 2 other films with the same exact name, but the plots are significantly different.
Oh.
Yes, we will see another Valiant for 1962. Just to put it out there. And the other one, I believe, is in 1944. No, excuse me. 2005. It's an animated children's movie.
And I assume neither of them are related to this film?
None of them are related whatsoever. They just have the same name. Because nobody can be original.
They probably didn't even know about this film.
Probably not. So fucking old.
Yeah. I sometimes forget how niche what we talk about is, but that's what makes it interesting, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to avoid talking about this film.
Yeah. This film doesn't even really have any fun facts either. Outside of the fact that it takes its name from a poem about Julius Caesar.
Weird.
Yeah. This film is like fucking 4, but like if you want to be engaged to a nice mystery for a bit, then I guess like this is good enough. Some slop, basically.
Yeah, I give it a 4. It is, yeah, it's slop. It's a Hollywood movie, and the only thing I know about this film is it got Paul Muni an Oscar, which is weird because he was in another film this year, I believe, and that film is much better.
However,
yeah, go ahead.
This next film is one of the greatest films ever. I'm kidding.
It's The Virginian.
It is The Virginian. It's a Western, and it also has the same name as a TV series we will cover at one point or another in the future.
Which I also assume has no relation to this film.
I'm not sure. It actually might have a relation to this.
Actually it might. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. I watched this. I tried watching through this film, and it was so goddamn boring. Like it was nothing, and it's poorly preserved, but that's not the film's fault.
The best
That
character. Hmm? Continue.
I paced around my living room for an hour trying to convince myself to finish this film. And I ended up having to get absolutely blazed to finish it. So I don't remember this film. One, because it was boring, and two, because I was high as tits while watching it.
Yeah, this film is very boring, but the best character was Uncle Huey.
I don't. Which one was Uncle Huey?
Hold on. Let me find the character. It's Chester Coughlin. That's not a name. That's a fucking face.
Unfortunate name.
That's a fucking face. Jeez, Louise, Wikipedia. What the?
I'm looking up this film on Letterboxd really quickly. Oh, oh, that guy.
So
I nicknamed him Cousin Id.
So one of the pictures used for this motherfucker on Wikipedia is this image, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? He's like he saw an SCP or some shit.
I don't usually request this, Scyther, but when this goes onto YouTube, just please insert this right here, this image, and have it slowly fade in.
Okay, I'm doing it. I'll download the video and
or have it as a jump scare.
Yeah, I'll download this shit. Oh wait, well you know what I could do? Okay, so we're talking about it right now, but I'm gonna show it somewhere randomly, and it won't be in this portion.
Hello, if you're wondering what that face was, now you know.
I saw your mom's tits in hell. Ah!
I'm trying to avoid this. This was dreadful. I hated The Virginian.
Yeah, this film was not the greatest. This is a 2.
I gave it a 4. It was at least a movie, even if it wasn't a very good one.
This next
There's
one.
There's not much else. Oh, Thunderbolt. It is a crime movie.
Yes.
It was kind of entertaining, actually.
I loved the choice to cast the lead. He was a really, really good choice. George Bancroft.
George Bancroft is an actor that is mostly known for the early 30s, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he had a lot of appearances in the late 30s.
So let me see.
That's the right film. George Bancroft.
So he would appear a few more times throughout the 40s.
Oh no, he was in the late 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. Oh, this guy, yeah. I love this guy. Oh my god, sorry. Just a little side note. If you go to George Bancroft's Letterboxd page, I know I bring up Letterboxd a lot. I just use it obsessively because of my reviewing.
Yeah.
His bio literally just says George Bancroft was an American screen actor of the 1920s and 30s. There's a little bit more to him.
Yeah.
He was a star in a film that it did come out this year, but we can't talk about it. And I'm going to very quickly talk about it. The Wolf of Wall Street from 1929, which is Lost.
Oh.
And it looks amazing. The clip I have seen of this film looks so cool, but unfortunately, it just doesn't exist. And probably, from the sounds of my research, will never exist. Which is sad. But back to Thunderbolt. I liked this film. I thought it was interesting. It's a crime movie about framing and mafia boss and this whole like romance triangle. My only complaint is half the film takes place on one set, which is a jail.
Yeah, which I mean can be all fucking fine and dandy, but get some creative liberties here with it.
Yeah, it gets a little lazy. What do you think of Thunderbolt, though?
I thought it was a very intriguing movie, especially so not just of course the main lead is a male, but the main lead's a female. So she's a very important actress. Okay, I hate saying that, but she is very important. She played fucking King Kong.
Oh,
yeah.
I knew she looked familiar.
Yeah, she is Fay Ray, and okay, this is so it's recent, but like not recent. It's a very weird thing to say. She was alive for a long time. She was born in 1907 and she died in 2004. So that was just 21 years ago when she died.
Oh,
I was fucking like free. Kind of crazy.
that is nuts.
Ugh. She was in so many fucking films, and we will be seeing her for a very, very, very long time, at least until the 80s. Um,
Wild.
so the film has quite a so how do I say this? The film was kind of really good, like kind of like a, I thought it was good. It was good for the plot it had. It had good background, it had good sound, it had good everything. But it's not one of those films where I'm like, okay, yeah, this is the best of the best. It's just a good film. It's middle of the road for
It's
me.
solid.
Yeah, it's a solid middle of the road film for me. So I'm gonna give it between up in 5 and 6 more than anything.
I gave it a 7. I thought it was good.
Yeah,
It was it's not super memorable, but if you were to put this film on again with the understanding that you don't mind older films and early sound films especially, you're not gonna have a bad time.
yeah.
It's fun. You know, it's just a nice little movie.
Something very
Um,
important to note is that
yeah.
this is one of the first films to be put on TV.
Oh,
Yes, it is one of 700 films from Paramount, of course, to be filmed between 1929 and 1949, which were put on TV. So its first airing was in 1958, which we will, I imagine, see some 1958 action later.
yeah. We'll get to see the list.
It'll be
Um,
very intriguing.
the last film we have for today on Shenandoah, I think that's how you say it. I probably butchered the pronunciation. I apologize.
I'm not French.
It translates to an Andalusian dog. Would you like to know something, Scyther?
Sure.
This film does not take place, reference, or have anything to do with Andalusia, which is a region in Spain, nor does it feature a dog. We're already off to a weird start. This is an experimental film, which I believe Salvador Dali was involved in. This is just like, how long is it? 16 minutes of weird imagery, like ants crawling out of a guy's hand, a man trying to carry a piano with 2 dead donkeys in it, a woman getting groped. Okay. Um, there is nudity in this film. I just remembered that.
this is a
That was weird.
this is a weird little fun fact to toss out there. It's pretty important because it's like, wow, the reaction to this was just horrible. This film actually had a sequel. Did you know that, Oz?
We are going to talk about it next year, aren't we? The Age of Gold.
Yes. Well, the Age of Gold, but this was the sequel was some shit. But the fun fact here is that this, due to how bad the sequel is, how horrible this film and that film be banned by the Paris Police Prefecture. Yes, Oz, the
Was
police.
it banned because of the nudity?
No, it was just horrible. It was a bad film. It was utterly horrible. It was dog shit. It was so bad it was offensive to the eyes.
You're talking about The Age of Gold, yes?
Let me see the name. Yes, the Age of Gold, or the Golden Age. Yes, it was.
Yes.
It was deemed very, very bad, according to the police prefecture of police of Paris. It's a weird one.
When we get there, we'll talk about it more, but I don't entirely disagree. I don't think it was that bad, but it was bad.
Yeah.
I am really curious to hear your thoughts on specifically on Shonandoru because this is a very different kind of film.
I thought it was intriguing. How can I comment on this? Oh, just dive in here. Um, I thought it was okay. This is where I don't usually do this. I'm going to talk about the ending first before I go anywhere else.
Fitting for this film.
Yes, the ending was, what the fuck even was that ending?
What the fuck was any of this?
Yes. like in the spring and all, like dead people, lots of like what the fuck? It's like a damn snuff film at times.
It's a little pornographic. It's a little strange.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to a friend about this film a while ago, and I referred to it as if the French had made Man with a movie camera.
Yes. It's weird to me. So it's not really talked about at all, really, about how involved the French police were in French films, and for good reason. They really served no purpose outside of, how do I say this? Um, you're good to go. Put film out, or okay, sure, man, we'll let you exist. And did you know, Oz? They still exist today. But
That's kind of weird.
guess what? You cannot access their website at all in America. Period.
Oh,
Yes, their site is banned here. Because they are pricks.
that is messed up.
Yes, they have always been, at every point in their history, the profession of the police has been heavy-handed with French media, and I'm not too sure why.
Might be a cultural thing.
Might be.
What would you rate on Chenin de Loup? Because it's a hard film to talk about. I don't have much to say.
You know, for all the weird shit going on, I was morbidly curious the entire time. This will this is a snuff film. Let's make this clear. This is getting a 9.
I give it an 8. It was certainly strange. I did say in my review for it that this would be either the best or the worst film to watch while high. There is no in between. Oh, is it time for Guno meter?
Okay, yes, but it's not for this film. It's for the prior film. I forgot to do it. Frey Ray, she is,
Thunderbolt.
yeah, fucking Thunderbolt. She deserves the highest tier I can give, a fucking 15 out of 10. Because good lord, that lady was built different. Um, no, okay, I see why they used her in King Kong. I see why now. Okay, Marilyn Monroe, who? This bitch deserved to be the sex icon.
Fair.
Jeez, she hit.
I get it. Would you like to talk about some awards?
Yes, I would love to have some awards.
All right. So, the Oscars are still doing the dumb thing where they do multiple years. So, this is going to be kind of last year, kind of the next year. Um, so for actor, okay, for to be specific, in 1929, the first half, right? Paul Muni won for Best Actor.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about that. But this year, which is again 1929, 1930, the winner is George Arliss for Disraeli. The nominees are George Arliss again for The Green Goddess, Wallace Berry for The Big House, which we have not seen. Films that are relevant to this year, though: The Love Parade, the main guy, Maurice. I think that's the only one that we watched, actually. So I don't think best. Did Disraeli ever do any? He didn't really do very good in that role.
Mm, mm, I don't know, man. I, I, I don't know.
To be fair, no one did a superb performance this Oscar this year.
Mm, mm, man. The, despite of course we have to what you know what I think the best actor, you know what is, despite my hatred of the character, the guy who played the protagonist in the Love Parade, yeah, he was fucking golden. Oh, I'm just gonna find his master's damn name.
Maurice Chevalier.
Yes, he he's deserving, so deserving.
Fair.
He
From what you sound about him, the clips I have seen since I did watch a little bit of this film, because funny story about the Love Parade, really quickly.
Mhm.
I was trying to find the gay divorcee and accidentally started watching this film.
This is what I think of the actor is that he played the role of this annoying bastard so fucking well that I was actually irritated. Like I was actually yelling at the damn screen that God, stop being so stupid, stop being so stupid, and I'm like, wow, yeah,
That's convincing.
he did his damn job perfectly.
That's true. I think sometimes we forget that actors are supposed to elicit negative responses from us a lot of the time.
Yeah,
For Best Actress, obviously the winner from this year would be Mary Pickford for Coquette, and I don't think any of us have to disagree with or agree with that because I think both of us are on the same page of what.
yeah. I'm not biased, and that's because she's hot, but Faye Ray is pretty pog, pretty poggers.
Sure, I'd give it to her. I can't really. I mean, maybe the main girls in the Broadway Melody, but there's just not a lot of competition this year.
Okay, this gonna sound fucked up, but I just think that for now there just isn't really any real pop off female actresses. Okay, no, don't get me wrong. There's been some that are really fucking good. For example, the lady who plays in Pandora's Box, she's pretty deserving too. I mean, she was a really good actress for her time.
I just don't think they're getting the roles that to really accentuate that at the moment.
Yes, it's really the thing of a time, and females just don't got it like that just yet. Don't worry, their time will come, and oh boy, will it come! King Kong, Fay Ray, you're getting another reward once we get to you.
Art direction. The King of Jazz won, but I don't think it was a category last year. Love Parade also got a nod, which I think is a little strange. Art direction. I mean, probably Coconuts.
You know what? Okay, I was gonna say that too, but you know what? This is how deep the messaging. Okay, the quote unquote messaging, very loose messaging, if any. There is no messaging. Man of a movie camera, and I don't care what Americans say. I like this to be in film.
Not fair. I think it has good art direction. Cinematography. We're not even going to bother. Man with a movie camera. I unless you disagree with that.
There was only one other film that even tackled and like revolutionized quote that shit. I can't remember which one it was, but it was the one that included a new way of doing the fucking following the camera bullshit. But yeah, the man movie camera.
Tracking shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Directing. I believe all of these films are from, besides The Love Parade. God, it's getting a lot of nods. Was from 1930.
Yeah.
All Quiet on the Western Front, which also won Best Picture for next year, which I agree with. But for directing, it's a hard thing to rate, but I might just give it to Coconuts again because the directing is quite good.
On the other hand, I'm giving it to The Love Parade.
Valid. I haven't seen it, so I can't comment. All right. Actually, we'll end with that. So we'll sound. This is a rough category.
Okay.
This year.
Automatically. Okay, is this fucked up for is it fucked up for me to give it to the fucking silent version of the film? It's not the sound version. Is it fucked up? I mean, insulted like that?
That feels like a cop out because no film had good sound this year.
It's like the biggest insult to a film. That's like, oh yeah, sound version is better. It deserves a reward. Because I'm tempted to give it to it.
I think Blackmail had some good. Oh, you know what? If I actually, I'm gonna retract. If I were to give something best direction, I probably would have given to Blackmail because Hitchcock.
Oh yeah. Let's go with that.
Okay, for sound, it was all garbage. I guess Broadway Melody because the music wasn't awful.
You know what? I'm about to hit you with something like, nah, you're fucking wrong, Cursed Curator. Disraeli.
I'm not gonna hate on that. I mean, all the sound is kind of garbage. Just really has some okay sound. Writing.
Okay, me automatically Love Parade. God, the writing, the message hits in a modern day, and you love to see it when a fucking film has a message that is timeless. This is a film that will outstand all time. That this messaging will just stay true forever.
Fair. I would give it personally to Applause.
That's fair.
I also again need to change something because I forgetting some of the films. I think best art direction I would give to Anshan Andalou.
Okay.
Anshan Andalou? I don't know how to say it. Here's the one that everyone cares about. I haven't been naming the nominees because most of these are from 1930. Again, this will be easier once we get to 1934, and they're all contained within the same year. Best Outstanding Picture, which is Best Picture. What was the best film of 1929?
Best film. God dang
Well, I think the answer is a little obvious.
it. It is. I'm very excited when
Alibi. No.
I'm very excited when films like we get to the point where it's not the most obvious thing. That's pretty far away. It's pretty decently very far. Um, of course, I believe it goes with a this is there's three contenders to me right now. Of course, Man with a movie camera, obviously. The Love Parade because I think it's really fucking good actually. I'm not thinking about it really hard. And of course, it goes without question the film with a really sad ending.
Pandora's Box.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I would give them the nods, and then I think the win would go for Man with a Movie Camera.
Yes. To me, like it's so close between Man with Movie Camera and the Love Parade, but it ultimately edges out to Man with Movie Camera.
That's fair. Now, I have a category I want to introduce just as a funny little thing. Worst movie of the year. My nominees, personally, Hollywood Review, Coquette, and Alibi.
Alibi.
I'm gonna say Coquette.
Fair.
Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree too hard.
So you know,
And that is the Aussies and the Scythes.
wait, I'm about to toss in something here. This is my own thing. This will be immediately
Uh-huh.
fucking banished from the next Syphies and Aussies. The most goonable actress from all of it, and that goes to fucking Fay Ray again.
And much like the Oscars, we will constantly be adding and then immediately removing categories.
Don't worry, we'll re-add it again. Once I find an actress, I'm like, wow, this is worthy. All right, we're not doing this again. Does it again anyway. Yeah.
It's the 1930s.
The fucking family for that lady's still alive. We bet you we get up and takedown notice. Holy shit.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's 1934. Now, very quickly, we're going to talk about the things that are less relevant. Music. I listened to some music from 1929. There's actually some really good shit going on. We have the first recording of Singing in the Rain, which is actually in the Hollywood Review. We have Ain't Misbehavin' by Fats Waller. I love Fats Waller. We got Tip Through the Tulips with Me.
I love that one. I loved it.
Yes. Honey, Pagan Love Song, Sweethearts on Parade. The music of this year was banging.
You know what? This is my hottish take. This is the best year for music. And so far, yes. This is a really good year for music.
Scroll. Nope, I'm gonna agree with you. So far, this is the best year for music, and I think, unlike film, where it has a lot of up and downs, I think music generally just goes up. Like, there's more stuff happening, there's more stuff coming about, and a lot of this is the genres are developing. We're seeing new genres come about. We're seeing genres become way more defined.
Yep.
And I love the music. There's not much else to say. It's good. Listen to Ain't Misbehavin'. Listen to Singing in the Rain by Cliff Edwards.
The
Just listen to more jazz. It's way better than you probably think it is.
the best part about this is that we exist in a time where we have games set in this like in these periods and actually play music from this time, and I fucking love that. I love that so much. Oh, it's so good.
That brings me to an interesting idea. Is I wonder, since the entirety of the 20s is now public domain, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if there's going to be more media set in the 20s, since they can use anything they want.
I imagine there will be some films and games and even books, using shit from this time. But I feel like this is my take here that the 20s is a very niche, yes, niche time frame. The 30s is way more popular than the 20s, and for well obvious reasons. It can force you like, oh, we'll make a game based on the Roaring 20s, and guess what happens? Oh, it all goes to shit or it's depression, and now it's all shit to begin with. It's a very time frame.
Fair. I think the 30s has a lot more literature that is quite popular and well known. Catcher in the Rye, Mice of Men. We'll talk about the movie adaptation
Yeah,
and the books eventually when I get to literature.
I'm very excited though when all the stuff in the damn 30s ultimately becomes the public domain.
Next year, yeah, next year it starts. It begins.
Yes, I'm very
King Kong
excited
doesn't
though.
have much time left.
It does not. Oh, poor Kingy. Mm.
Oh, poor Universal. They're gonna lose so much money.
It's okay. Just make another damn bullshit version of King Kong. They'll have a damn new baby to from cradle.
To copyright.
Yeah.
So, was there any major developments in board gaming?
I'm gonna take a gander at board gaming of the 1920.
1920. I highly doubt there's gonna be much happening, and it's probably gonna be racist.
You know, you didn't have to call him out like that. You didn't have to. Okay,
Am I wrong?
so okay, that doesn't count. We're not including that. Okay, I'm like, oh, that could be interesting. No, oh, there actually is no board games in 1929. None.
I assume none that we know of or are significant.
Yeah, Wikipedia is giving us nothing for that year whatsoever. Very tough.
That is tough.
Um.
That's some shit right there.
Oh, there might actually be a reason why.
Depression?
Yeah, there might be a reason.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to sell a luxury, expensive board game when everyone is unemployed.
Yeah, don't worry, because the 30s have some damn bangers. There's Nazi board games.
And on that note, what did you think of the media of 1929?
I think the media of 1929 movies are really shaping up. They're really shaping up. It's getting really good.
No, get out of here.
No, they're shaping up. The messaging,
Get
the
outta
stories,
here.
they're shaping up. It's all slop. It's really good slop. They're shaping up.
Garbage. This is the worst.
It featured a few gems in the rough. For example, Love Parade, which I'm actually like really
I'd like
really
to
liking.
remind you as well. The films I'm showing you are the best films of this year.
It's not. Yes, it's not all the films. Obviously, it's just the best.
Yeah.
The best they have to offer, and a lot of them are shit.
The best they have to offer includes multiple twos.
In fairness, it's a whole lot of rigging going on right now. So yeah, they're the best, but in reality, there's probably something better out there. So explore yourself, just in case.
Yeah, no. If you know of any good films from 1929, tell us about it, and I will watch it, and I will see if there's something that can redeem this dumpster fire of a year, other than Man with a Movie Camera.
um, this is something I'll have to mention. This is because it's something that's coming up. It's gonna be for the 30s, and there's gonna be a lot of German shit, a whole lot of German stuff that is not very PogChamp to certain groups of people. The Romani, the Jewish people. Love you. Shouts out my Jewish homies.
Anyone who doesn't like fascism, which I believe is the current majority of the population.
Probably. Yeah, I think so. Unless you're a filthy commie who wait, I forgot. Commies
They
in
don't like
fact.
fascism either.
I forgot. Commies in fact do not like fascism. Bastards. Oh, wait, I hate fascism too. Ugh. But we will see a lot of offensive things. Well, of course, you
And
won't be
we're
seeing
going to
it.
try and talk about it as respectfully as possible.
Yes. For example, the board games, yes, there are in fact Nazi board games. We won't show any imagery, but we will mention them. There is one that is very much safe for work, and I think it's kind of cool actually. Um, which I'll briefly mention the name, the Bomber über England, which is this bombers over England. It's pretty neat.
So it's a board game where you like bomb England.
Yeah, it's very weird. If you ever played a strategy war game, like Hearts of Iron, it has a map of England and parts of Northern Europe that contains holes and locations of key cities, such as, for example, London, and as well as there are various points representing targets in the North Sea. You shoot them down with a damn ball, which are represented as bombs, and you try and get as many points as you can. I think it's pretty creative. I think it's kind of cool, actually.
That is a very fascist way to make a board game. I'm not gonna lie. That's some decent game design.
I feel like that game came out like an actual like game back in the early days of gaming. It'd be very popular.
I'm sure there's some Commodore game with that kind of concept.
Yeah.
And on that note, next year we have it's gonna be really interesting. We're gonna see the birth of the melodrama. Aren't you excited?
Yeah. It doesn't stay around very long, does it?
No, it stays around for like 20 years.
And it's 20 years. Oh, fuck me. Are you excited for the 1958 Oz? That's when we see Scrabble.
Oh hell yeah, we're gonna have to play Scrabble on stream.
Yes.
Um,
Speaking of that, soon enough we're gonna start playing games. So not just Mario Kart, which is like so far it's the only game we actually played on stream like one time. We'll boot up a tabletop so there and start playing these games.
I we should do that. We should play some old board games. I'll add a list. I'll do a list of some historical board games, and we'll play some of them on stream. Especially
So
if I am falling behind on research, which I often do.
we do have two games in 1930, and they're both kind of shit. It's San and Shogi and Wahoo.
I'm sure we'll talk about the amazingness next episode because that I want to put that off as much as humanly possible. If you made it to the end of this stream, we really appreciate it. It genuinely makes us so happy to see that on our YouTube we've been getting a little bit of views, and genuinely, it is so heartwarming to know that people actually enjoy our content and keep it coming. We're gonna keep making things. So with that, what would you like to close out with, Scythe boy?
I will close out with, of course, plugging our shit. Give me thy
Let me
stuff.
get my letterbox. Yes. We do stuff all across the internet. We do a lot of things. Frankly, we do too many things.
Yeah. Something I am. This is something I just want to mention because I mentioned this actually a while back. Is that I want to start. Me and you as a fun little thing we can do on stream is that we can make an alternate ending to our favorite movies or movies we have watched. While it'll be a fun little thing. You're like, oh, this is actually how I would do it.
That'd be interesting. Again, if you guys want to comment any films that you think have a bad ending, that would help us a lot, actually.
Yep, there's Oz's letterbox, and I will now slide over the Cursed Curator YouTube channel, and it will get eventually, hopefully, by the end of by the midnight, it'll be up. If not, it's because I'm editing it and I had to add in a certain face.
Just flashes on the screen. And remember, Jimbo the Anomaly will be watching you in your dreams. Goodbye.
Goodbye, guys.